Welcome to the University of Findlay Art and Culture Show. I am your host, Sharinda, and we are very excited to have two very special guests on set with us today. Mr. David P. Harr from the Sodexo Dining Services here on campus at the University of Findlay, and Mr. Ron Rooker from the Chopin Hall. Welcome. And we're here to talk about a very special annual event that takes place through the dining services and partnership with the University of Findlay called Helping Hands. And it's an annual food drive, and it benefits Chopin Hall here in Hancock County. So I want to start with you, David, and talk a little bit about Helping Hands Food Drive, because this isn't just a local event that was birthed here in Findlay. This has been inspired through the national Sodexo, is that correct?
Yeah, it started back in 2006, actually.
Wow.
And it started as Cans Across America. And it was trying to tie in, let's break the world's record for collecting the most amount of food within 24 hours. And we try to tie in all the Sodexo accounts across the nation to try to see how much food we could collect within that 24 hours. And we're trying to go for the Guinness Book of World Record. We did it a couple of years to try to break that record. And it was very difficult, to keep track of everything,
Sure.
and when it all started and stuff like that. So that trying to break the record went aside. But it was such a good cause to get started and keep the community, be part of the community and stuff like that. It meant a lot to the community that we continued it. And it got renamed to Helping Hands, and we added food drives to the end of it, so it became Helping Hands Food Drive, and just been evolving every year, tweaking things, getting things growing a little bit more, getting more excitement as it goes along.
And again, that's on a national level, and then we as the Sodexo Dining Services and University of Findlay have continued to participate every year.
Correct. And even on a national level, we still report how much, when we do food drives, and how much support Stop Hunger, because that's one of the goals of Sodexo is to stop hunger.
Everyone has a meal.
And so we want to make sure that we want to put end to hunger.
Sure.
And by doing that, we do report in all of our food drive stuffs across the board, across the nation. So just not doing it as a world's record part. And every year since 2008, I think it was 2008, we have led the nation in the most pounds of food collected.
Okay, so let's just stop there. Findlay, Ohio has led the nation in Sodexo accounts nationwide on raising the most amount of food annually. Correct. In 24 hours.
And, well, we narrowed it down actually as we're along. We went down to 12 hours because that's all further we were open.
Yeah.
And there's other people doing it for 2 weeks, 3 weeks. We want to do it all in 12 hours.
Wow.
I know, which is kind of fun. It gave a little bit of push with it.
Sure.
What can we do in 12 hours and stuff? Gets people excited about it and just see what we could do.
Yeah.
And now it's almost a challenge every year. What can we do to beat last year's record? What can we do last year? And every year as you go along, it got more and more people involved into it, and we always seem to up the ante a little bit more, and we've grown a little bit more, and we've always seemed to beat that record every year.
And what's exciting is our student population changes over. They graduate, they move on. And so we have new generations of students that are catching the enthusiasm and the energy and wanting to participate. And it's become something since 2006, there's a history now. So people hear about it and they feel that positive energy that comes with it. And so you had something really special happen this year where students went out with their own money and took grocery carts and filled them up and brought them back here during the drive day, all on their own. It wasn't with a student organization. It wasn't with a department because we have a few competitions on campus with it. But these were students that just caught the vision and the energy and the passion behind the mission of it and went out on their own and did this.
Oh, it was I tell you, it melted my heart when I saw it. When they came in, they walked up to us and said, I had some food to donate. And I'm like, okay, where do we take it to? And we show them where the table's at. He says, well, we need a cart. And I was like, we gave him a cart, and he started taking it out. And I says, so is this, you need help unloading? Oh yeah, we can help unload. And then he's like, we probably need 2 carts. So we took 2 carts out and unloaded and brought it in. And it was, I'm thinking there's, going in and clean up what they had in their kitchen and
sure,
stuff like
clean
that,
out the cupboards. Yep.
Exactly, which is really nice, really good. But as they brought it in, and it's all stuff that they went to the store and bought to bring in. And
So it's fresh.
It hit the top 5 items too. They had peanut butter, they had fruit, they had soup, they had juice. I mean, they had all the top 5 items in there. And then they had to get to class. Like, well, you want to know how much you got, how much it weighs? So you came in here. So we sat there weighing it for them, and the number kept going up, and we're loading one cart, putting it on the scales, checking it all out. Ended up being 395 pounds worth of food that these 2 students brought in, and it was remarkable. Yeah. It brought tears to my eyes, and I'm like, I can feel it. It was very emotional.
Well, and you're very passionate about this personally. This is not something that, hey, this is a great idea, but this really tugs at your heartstrings. And I think it's part of the reason why it has become the holiday of November that it is for us before we leave for the holidays of Thanksgiving. It's a way to give back to our community. We're thankful for what we have, but you have had the opportunity of being recognized nationally just this year for the years that you have invested in this and the amount of care you have. And you went to one of your national conferences and was surprised to receive a national award for this endeavor, correct?
Yes.
And you don't want to talk about that because you're very humble, but it's very important that we celebrate that too, David, right?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
It is.
I was recognized nationally. I'm trying to think of the name of the award now because I'm so excited about it.
Yeah. That's the humbleness coming out. Let's just talk about the food.
It was called Heroes of Everyday Award, Heroes of Everyday Life Award. And it's an award that Sodexo put together to recognize employees of Sodexo has done a lot of good for the communities and stuff like that, and to stop hunger. And I was one of 5 people who was recognized throughout the entire nation to what they have done to keep food insecurity to the minimum.
And we are so proud that you are part of our campus here because you've done this for so many years, but you do so many other things, not just for the community, but for the campus community. You go over and beyond. So I know that the campus, as well as the greater community, was so thrilled when you received the award. And with that came a check. And you chose for that check to go to the nonprofit that all of the food goes to, which we mentioned at the beginning of this interview, which is to Chopin Hall. And so let's turn this interview over to Mr. Rooker for a minute. And so let's talk first about Chopin Hall. What is Chopin Hall? And we're talking to viewers that may not necessarily be from right here in Findlay. We have alumni who watch this overseas. So let's explain what Chopin Hall is, please.
Before we do that, I'm going to turn it back on to David. When I talk about this event and talk about David, I just describe him. He is Chopin Hall's biggest cheerleader. High energy. So thank you very much for that, David.
You're welcome.
Chopin Hall. Chopin's an acronym.
Okay.
Stands for Christians Helping Other People in Need. And we were started in 1984. There were 12 churches that came together that saw that there were needs in the community, and they felt if they pulled their resources. Financial and human resources together, they could do more. So that's how Chopin Hall was born.
And with that, it also helped with, because a lot of what churches want to teach is responsibility, accountability, and how to use your resources wisely. And with this going all to one location, the families that are being helped are now able to go to one central location and be served also. Which has helped empower the community to be able to even do more, because you have community entities that are also now pouring into the resource of Chopin Hall. It's not just those 12 churches.
Right.
So it's been a great vision that helped expand how we help our community.
Because today we have over 40 churches that support financial or donating or providing volunteers. So, because we are a volunteer-driven organization. Everybody's a volunteer but one, me. So like I said, we truly are a volunteer-driven organization. And talking about pulling resources together, the community went one step farther in 2006, right about the time that I heard 2006 already this few minutes ago, but right about the time in 2006 was when the Family Center was opened. And that is, the Community Foundation had the foresight to think, let's pull resources, let's pull a bunch of agencies together to kind of make it one-stop shop. And so that's what it is. There's about 12 different nonprofit agencies out and that, at the Family Center, and it opened in 2006. And it is cool, we really work together. One of the other agencies, they have somebody in front of them that needs some assistance of food and clothing, then
they're able to refer then.
They got my number. And so if we're not open, they pick up the phone, Ron, where are you? And so we try to provide and try to help with that individual. So going, I sidetracked my own self a little bit there, but Chopin Hall's mission is to provide food, clothing, and personal care items. So that is what our mission is. And the whole community pulls together to help us with that mission. And the University of Findlay, David P. Harr, our biggest cheerleader, really is tremendous about helping us with the mission. And just to give you an example, we have about 1,000 family visits a month, and so this drive, the Helping Hands drive, there are some categories of food we'll have that'll carry us through the holiday. Other categories where we received more fruits or vegetables, corn and green beans, that will carry us beyond. So I figure this drive, this impact,
this year's, you're referring to just this year's,
will probably impact a couple thousand families in our community.
And we're going to get to that in just a second, because
I'm jumping ahead.
Yeah, because we're talking about numbers of how many are served, but we haven't talked about what our goal was and what actually was received. So we've got to get to that exciting news. So thank you for sharing a little bit about who Chopin Hall is and what the service is. I think that's very helpful, because then we get to talk about the donations. We started in 2006. That first year, how much was collected? And there really wasn't a goal for us that year. It was, let's see how we do, and it's going to tie to the national total. And it was kind of to get the toes wet and figure some things out. But then after that, baby, it was all over. There were goals every year after that. So what was that first year's total in 2006?
Well, the first year we actually, right off the bat, teamed up with Habitat Humanity on campus. That was our volunteer force.
Yes.
So we were trying to get students, just to bring in canned goods and help donate things across the board from there. So we didn't have a scale at that time or anything. We were counting cans. So our goal was to hit 1,000 cans. Okay. So we did hit 1,000 cans that year. It was 994 pounds that it worked out to be, but it was 1,000 cans we got, and we built a nice little pyramid on the table and stuff. And we got all done with it, and we're looking at that table and like, oh, man, that looks like a lot of food. That's great. How are we getting it over to Chopin Hall? And it's like, oh, okay. So we loaded it all up, and we took 2 cars, threw it in the trunk, and took it over to Chopin Hall, and it was great. Everybody was very appreciative of it and everything like that. And it's just like, we felt good.
Yeah.
And then the second year we got together, and I remember Stephen Marackley was part of Chopin Hall.
Yep.
And he looked at me, I looked at him, and we're trying to plan this out. And we put out stats the year before, because it was for the world's record, so everybody knew how much everybody collected. And I says, look where we're at. We're not even close to where these people are up here. There's people who had 14,000, 17,000 worth of pounds and stuff. We're at 994. And I sat there and I says, we need to be number 1. And they looked at me like I was crazy. And I'm like, no, we could do that. We could be up there with that. And he bought right into it. And then that year there, I can't remember, it was probably 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 pounds I think we got that year there. And
it just kept growing.
It kept growing.
And it evolved.
And he started he was here as a freshman, and by the time he was out here as a senior, we were already up over 17,000 pounds that year, being number one in the nation, collecting wise and stuff like that, and just driving across the board from it. And even, I know, I didn't talk to him this year, but last year I know he donated towards the drive too. So, so it's exciting to have him be a part of everything of that, seeing how it's grown from there.
Absolutely. And the focus has been to continue to ask the students to be involved. I know Habitat has continued annually to be involved on campus. Other student organizations have helped as organizations and volunteered. And then there's been different competitions throughout the years where they can compete amongst themselves as organizations.
Oh yeah, and that get competitive there.
Yes,
because
it does.
We had our student organization challenge out there. One year was Theta Chi, smallest
which is a fraternity,
smallest fraternity on campus. Who's going to win? It's always pre-vet winning at that time. It was the largest club on campus. Pre-vet is winning. Like, we got to be pre-vet. And so they're out there. I think it's a group of maybe 12 guys, I think, probably is trying to put it together. And they were calling their alum. They're calling their parents. They're going around the neighborhoods, knocking on doors, bringing it in. They ended up bringing all this food in and beating
it was a big
everybody
deal.
out. Yeah, it was huge. But once again, it was showing how just, if you're focused, a lot of people working together for the same common goal, how you could bring it together and get everybody out there with it.
Yeah.
And I remember them telling me a story once. They got all this money that their brothers gave them, and they went out to, I think it was Aldi's. They were out at Aldi's buying canned goods to bring in. And of course, they wait to the last part. 7:30 is when we close. So they wanted to try to do that push, to do that last minute jump at the end so they get the first place, because they kept on seeing who was there and they were going back and forth. Well, they're out at Aldi's buying this food, and they're in line to have 4 grocery carts filled with food. And a person behind them's wondering, why are you buying all this food? You know, are you guys having a party and you're going to have corn and vegetables? And
it's a healthy party.
What is, what is this? So I explained what it was about, what they're doing and the competition they're in, but they're really focused on helping out those who are in need and helping our neighbors and how this is all going to go to Chopin Hall and stuff. And so they get done ringing up this order, and the person behind them went up and paid for it. So it was one of the greatest. They weren't allowed to say who it was. They're not allowed or anything like that. They were just, but they were just so grateful.
But they know.
That they know, and it was so grateful that this person did that for them. Right. Also, I think they're excited because they got to go spend more money to go get more.
Right.
So it takes them to do more. But they were truly appreciative of that person, going out of the way, and it really moved themselves to saying how caring and how people want to help out other people from there. So.
What an awesome story.
Oh, I just remember that, and I'll probably forever remember that story.
Of course, and they will too. And that's the cool thing about events and programs like this. We're not only educating our campus community to the greater community and what the needs are and how we can adopt a community while we're on a campus attending school, but we're also taking what they're learning in the classrooms and giving them an opportunity to adopt a program like this and continue their education through service. And it's providing learning and it's connecting them, and then as they move on, they have that story to tell someone else, and they understand the importance of it and how starting by example and sharing, it can be contagious in positive ways. So it's such a neat program. So we started in 2006 at almost 1,000 pounds, and then every year we set a new goal. What was last year's intake of food?
So last year we brought in 165,750 some odd pounds. I can't remember the exact amount, but we'll say 165,000 pounds.
And so we went from 1,000 to 165,000. So in this time, we've picked up sponsors because you realized Sodexo can't do this all by themselves. We need to have some help. And so could you talk to us a little bit about the community sponsors that have seen the vision for this and gotten excited and have given 110% buy-in to make sure that not only are we collecting the food, but then we're transporting it safely, and so we don't bang up all those cans and get it to Chopin Hall? Who are some of the companies that are supporting this locally so that this can continue to grow?
Each year it grows a little bit more, and
does.
it's fun to see the sponsors continue to stay and get new ones in and stuff. And they sponsor in different ways.
Correct. Yeah.
So, but we have this year we've had Walmart, both Walmarts to contribute towards this event. Both Alliance be at their location as a collection place, but also contributed financially into it as well. We also have, I'm trying to, I got to think of everybody. It's a big list.
Didn't mean to put you on the spot with that, I'm sorry.
We also have, I got to go through the list. I got to remember here now. I'll go Campbell Soup has been a huge sponsor with it.
And Campbell's does not have a company here in Hancock County.
Well, they have DHL Campbell's here.
Yes.
They have a facility here.
Yes, okay.
But Campbell Soup, when they started donating towards us, didn't. They do now. So,
They decided to start a plant here for us
just because
of
they know
how
about Finley. They know about Finley. So, but they probably about 6 years they have been donating towards us. And what Campbell's does, it ends up being almost a 53-foot trailer filled with food that comes and they donate in.
Last couple of years, it was a full
That's
trailer.
so awesome.
Yep.
And when we're talking about a trailer, we're talking about a semi-truck trailer.
Semi-truck.
Yes, we know that's what we're talking about, but that's really hard to comprehend because that's
23, 24 pallets.
And pallets, for people that don't know what those look like, it's a big wooden square, and then it's piled high and then shrink wrapped tight. It's not just 6 cans here and 6 cans there. It's a hunk.
Yeah, usually they're 4x4, and most pallets are, I can barely see the top of them. So they're about 4x4 by 5 feet tall.
Yeah, yeah.
So.
Yeah, and depending on what they are, they could weigh, up to 2,000, 3,000 pounds worth of items on there. So
It's a little dolphin.
So they have been very good with contributing things towards there. We've also Fresh Encounters in town. Every year we pre-sell food that people could buy in advance of the drive, and also the day of for our students to buy.
And that's online,
and
correct?
They could buy it online, or they could buy it at any of our registers on campus, any of these areas.
But the totals aren't revealed and totaled until day of.
Correct.
They can pre-order, but nobody knows anything except for you until that day, and then that food doesn't get actually delivered and ordered until that day.
It arrives on campus that day from that point. And so they've always provided us food for that, but they also provide it to us at cost, which is pretty cool.
What a gift.
Because that's bringing it in and able to turn that around, and we also sell it to anybody who wants to donate at the same cost. So it's all passed right along from there. So, and this year that was over, I gotta think it was around 22,000 pounds of food that we got from Fresh Encounters at that area. And that was peanut butter, and it was soup, and it was canned fruit and vegetables. Those are the main things they had there from there. And then of course, we were at Brinkman's this year. It was the first year they participated with us.
And that's a country corner market.
Yep.
Locally
And
family
they
owned.
allowed us to be at their location here to collect. Kroger in town on 6th Street was another area where we were able to be at the store the day of, and I should say that we have volunteers at all these stores.
And they pass out a little bit of an information
They pass
card.
out a little card saying, here's the top 5 items that Chopin Hall can use. Give it to them as a shopping list. They could choose to go in and buy those items or other items, bring them back out, and donate
have
right there at
cards
the
right there.
table. Yep.
And then you have drivers that can go around and pick the food up every so often.
Correct. We have a
so
van
it's
going around
not
picking it up.
piling up
Yep.
and out of control and causing hazards for people.
Correct.
Safety's important.
And we at any of those stores, it's usually around anywhere between 4,000 to 6,000 pounds collected through that day at any of those stores, which is great. We also had Hearthside Foods up in Macomb participate in with it, where they had the chefs could donate, or people working there could donate food towards that.
And that's a cookie factory.
It's a cookie factory. And then we also had Home Depot Distribution Center this year participate. And they did a competition between chefs who could bring in the most amount of food for those chefs. I'm not sure what they won, but that's what their competition was. And they had over 11 boxes of Home Depot boxes, pretty decent sized boxes that was filled with food, which is wonderful. And then we also started having competitions a little bit at some of the schools in the area. Van Buren Middle School was involved, where they brought food in for that. Arlington's grades 7 through 12 was doing a competition down there, and I think they were doing grade to grade. Who's going to be able to compete to get the most there from that?
Yeah.
We were also at 50 North this year doing a collection of 50 North. They brought in over 700 pounds worth of food just at 50 North.
Wonderful. And for our viewers that aren't from the area, 50 North is our 50 and older community center here in town. So it's very active. Lots of fun people there.
Very, very active. And also AAA Findlay also was a collection location, and they have this beautiful digital board out front that you drive up and down Tiffin Avenue, you can see Helping Hands Food Drive going on here, which is wonderful. And I'm trying to think of other, I know there's
Garner
more.
Trucking.
Oh my gosh.
Was
From
our-
the Campbell Soup, I probably should have tied that in with Campbell Soup. Well, Campbell Soup is located up in Napoleon, Ohio, which is a good distance away from Findlay. So how are you going to get 40,000 pounds worth of food from one area to another area? Well, Gardner Trucking comes through with us every year. I was talking with them yesterday. It's probably 10 to 12 years they've been a part of this food drive, where they bring their semi-truck in with their 53-foot trailer and be able to take it from our collection site over to Chopin Hall. And it's been every year since, every time Campbell Soup has donated, they've also driven all the way up there, load up the stuff, bring it down.
And gifted that.
And it's all gifted. They did it all
so
free of charge.
amazing.
And it just shows how everybody in the community here comes together to help out. There's a common cause. This is what we need to solve, and how are we going to solve it? And there's people who step in and help fill in those puzzles to solve this problem.
And there were a couple of the city school classes that did some donating too, correct? I thought Wilson Vance or...
In years past, we had Wilson Vance in there.
all
We
right.
had Hillcrest too was also donating
So in
there.
past years, they've...
Yeah.
So it just depends on what they're doing and the availability and the timing
Correct,
of everything.
correct.
And COVID affected some
It's
things.
changed a lot.
So,
It's changed a lot.
Yes.
So.
So we had 169,000, is that what you said last year?
165,000.
65,000.
Yep.
And so I have heard people joke that the goal this year was just to get one can over that. That was the joke during the summer and planning and stuff, is if we could just get one can, because we're coming out of COVID, there are financial challenges, there are work employee challenges of getting people to the workforce. So I heard that was kind of the goal. What was the actual goal for this year?
Well, it was one more pound.
No, knowing David, he had 200,000 pounds in it.
In my head, it was 200,000.
That was the dream.
In my head, it's 200,000.
But you told everybody to work for
we're going one more pound than what we
over.
got.
Okay.
Because, that's just tremendous. Every year, we've always wanted to do a little bit better than before, because every little pound helps somebody else out.
Absolutely. And demographically, Findlay is about 42,000 people in the city limits, population-wise. County, we're not at 100,000 people.
No, 75, 80,000.
Right.
I think.
So 80,000 people and 169 pounds of food, that's a lot for our size community. So 100 pounds more or a pound more, that's great. But what was the final tally for this year? Because it just happened on Wednesday, November 4th, 2021. 7:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. And there was an announcement yesterday of what came in. Drum roll.
So it was 214,599 pounds.
Woo! It's
food.
so awesome. And all of that stays in Hancock County.
Yes.
And that's why you were saying, with that amount of food coming in, you're not concerned about getting through the next few weeks to the holiday. You know that these families are going to have what they need, the proteins, the vitamins, the variety of foods to be able to enjoy through the holidays.
Yeah.
And up to 6 months out with fruits and vegetables, you
Yes.
feel you'll be able to serve families.
Yes, the impact of Helping Hands is just tremendous. And I always tell a little story that there are, our families get excited. They know that the Helping Hands, and they know
Is
what
coming,
impact
yeah.
and how it's impacted their lives. And so they get excited that, oh, okay, after the event, what opportunities or what options are we going to have to be able to choose from or to be able to get in our food boxes because of the event. So, and with our food boxes, just last year, every year we always analyze it, but last year we did a deep dive in terms of making sure that the boxes are balanced nutritionally. And so we had a nutritionist working with one of our work study students here, and so they did a deep dive and analyzed all the our different boxes to make sure that, because our goal is to provide a 5-day supply. So we were making sure that in every food box they were getting, yes, calories are not all bad. They were getting their 5-day supply of calories, carbs, fats, and proteins. And Helping Hands Food Drive just puts us over the top in terms of being able to make sure we can have that balanced food box, and making sure it used to be back in the day the pyramid, but now it's my plate. So we're having a balanced meal nutritional wise. So it is just our clients know that this event happens. They get very excited, and we get excited. It's almost like Christmas. We get the volunteers, because the boxes, a lot of them are flats, so you can see in their clear wrap, so you can see what's in them. But all the miscellaneous boxes, even though they're marked, they're sealed in a brown box, so we don't know. So it's like Christmas every time. Volunteers were taking a knife or opening it up to say, "Ooh, wow, ooh, look at this." So it is always an exciting time for us with this event. And I know, it's after when I first heard the 214,000, and I know 165 last year. I know the year before. It's like, wow, how are they going to beat that next year? Or what's going to happen next year? And I am confident. I'm going to put you on the spot, David.
We'll get 1 pound more.
I am confident, with David being such a cheerleader of this event and such a wonderful cheerleader of Chopin Hall, he's going to work extremely hard to go one step more, one more. And we've already talked about a few ideas for next year. So just to kind of reference, I've been at Chopin Hall 4 years, and my first year coming into this, we weren't at 100,000 yet. So my first year was 100,000. Here it is, 4 years later, and you've doubled it. So I got to shake your hand, David. Thank you. So it is just so exciting. So 4 years, double it again?
We'll see. We'll see.
So Ron, before we close out the interview, if someone that's watching wants to get involved with Chopin Hall, wants to make a donation or wants to volunteer, do you have a website or a social media site that you could provide us?
Yes.
Right now?
We are on Facebook. Our website is www.chopinhall.org. And of course, we're also old school. We have a phone number, 419-422-6401. So you can, on our website, there's a little button at the top, a tab at the top. So if you want to volunteer, you can click there and fill out a form, and I'll get the email or call. Give us a call, and that'll go to me, and then I'll return the call, and we'll have a little chat as to timing, what your expectations are, what you're wanting, and to see if particularly on a timing basis, whether that fits, and we try to plug you into something with Chopin. So, because like I said, we are a volunteer-driven organization, and we have a little over 60 volunteers, and the average age of our volunteer is well over 70. So, and they are a wonderful force, but
they would love to see some young blood join them and get some training and help with the day-to-day functions, of course.
So, we're If you've got some time, particularly if you know anything about a computer, we use a database that's web-based, that's very easy to use. But so if you're familiar with a computer, then that's probably our biggest need right now. Some of our, what I call family intake, individuals that can sit down and interview, talk to our clients, talk to the families, and get them checked in. That's probably our greatest need, to have some computer operators.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So you heard that.
Yeah.
We would love to see you get connected with Chopin Hall. And David, have you set the date for next year?
Next year it's November 2nd, Wednesday, November 2nd.
So
is the
we
date.
can start saving our food now.
That's right.
Or start our little bank where the money goes in, so that we can wait and purchase at cost in case a generous food supplier is going to give us at cost again for next year, correct?
No doubt.
Start
Just
that
get ready.
budgeting.
Just get ready.
Well, thank you both for being here. Thank you for all that both of you do, not only for the campus community, but for the entire county, and then those touch points that reach out beyond that. You're priceless.
Well, thank
And we
you.
want to thank you for joining us today on the Art and Culture Show. We look forward to seeing you the next time. Until then, be well.